rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. So, we've now gotten some more details on the Bad Bunny show. I don't think the lefties are going to like it. I don't care. We also got some more of the Epstein files drops, and there was a little nugget in there that, of course, is going to piss off the lefties as well. Also, too, I've got a couple people for tonight's Moron Files. They're both lefties. And I have, I've got some court overturning that happened. All over the place. And, yeah. So let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight is the mysterious, the couch potato, known as G. G is up for tonight's Pledge of Allegiance, so if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with G as he recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, G, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. That one nation. Can you tell where he's from? Anyway, if you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email. And then address that email and send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. If you do it on your phone, through a phone app, that app should allow you to hit the share option. That's S-H-A-R-E, share option, and send it off. You can send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online there as well. All right. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to tonight's headline sponsor, which is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution wants you to join their mission to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education from a biblical worldview. Now, how are they proposing that we go about doing that? Well, they have 3 easy action steps. The first one is to pray. Never forget to pray for your country. The second one is to study, and to help you study, they have 4 wonderful classes that you can take. One of them, the first one that is recommended, is 100% completely online. It's called their U.S. Constitution course. Now, you can sign up really quickly and easily right here, right above my head here. All you need to do is supply your first name, last name, and your email address, and they will send you the course through your email in 12 lessons, 12 15 to 20-minute long lessons for you to do on your own. It's a self-paced, self-study course. Fantastic course. And then once you go through that one, then what you need to do is go and join them in person. Go and explore their live courses. They have several of them. They have the U.S. Constitution course in person. They also have state courses like Comprehensive Study of the Delaware State Constitution. They have, many of these courses. You just got to go and check it out. You can see it right here online as I'm looking. They have the Truth of America's Founding. They have all kinds of courses. Again, there's California. Hey, there's Texas. Texas at the GHC Convention Center. It looks like in Round Rock. That one's coming up in July. Check that one out, July 9th. But anyway, go and check out their courses and go and take one if you can, an in-person course. Also, too, you have that third step, which is, of course, to act. What do they want you in terms of acting? Well, maybe you should become a member of the IOTC, or even better yet, become an instructor for them. Become an instructor today. They've got several levels. They have the certified instructor, the platinum instructor, chapter leader. You can check out these videos here. There's 2 of them, and you can check out both. One is 5 tips for a successful class. The other is how to become the IOTC instructor. And once you've shared the classes with others, seen the light in their eyes, you need to become an instructor. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Just head on over to theamericanview.com. That's theamericanview.com. And check out all of their stuff, all of their information. They got some fantastic things going on. And up in the upper right-hand corner, there's this red button you can click, and it's called the shop. When you go to the shop, man, check out all of the things that they have available for your shopping pleasure. I personally like the Legacy Library because the Legacy Library has the best gift you can possibly give to someone, and that is the absolutely fantastic Constitution, leather-bound U.S. Constitution. You can go and check that out and grab it today. And take a look at this thing. It's got an 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. This is stitched all the way through, the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if there is a problem, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is rounded, sexy, rounded corners right here, and each of these rounded corner leather-bound book is guaranteed to have the amendments in ascending numerical order, according to my Whiskey Warrior 3 Chevy. It is Buddy tested, Buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved, and my youngest Whiskey Warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to achieve your civics badge in scouting, as well as that civics exam, and possibly even to your naturalization test. Go and check it out. You can actually get to just the book, by the way, by going to constitution.americanperspective.online. That's constitution.americanperspective.online. That'll take you right to the book page. Or you can go to theamericanview.com and check out their Legacy Library. Also, don't forget to check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings. And I thank them for being a sponsor of this show. All right. Well, I told you about the viewership and everything. All of the numbers hadn't quite gotten in yet. They hadn't figured out everything yet. Well, apparently, according to Breitbart and according to Samba TV, which Samba TV and the Nielsen ratings, those are like the two top ratings I don't know what to call them, but anyway, they essentially are highly rated and highly trusted between Nielsen and Samba TV. Now, Samba TV, they count households. Nielsen estimates actual viewership. So that's why their numbers are different, okay? But that being said, nearly half of the households that watched the Super Bowl actually tuned out during the halftime performance of Sad Bunny. And this is according to Samba TV. So they had 48.6 million U.S. households tuned into the Super Bowl, which, by the way, was about a 13% decrease from the year prior. Okay? So, well, I mean, let's face it, not everybody wants to watch the Seattle Sea Chickens and the New England Patriots go at each other because, I mean, the New England Patriots have won and been to the Super Bowl so often. A lot of people are just pissed off over that fact. But anyway, and nobody really cares about the Seattle Seahawks, let's be honest. Outside of Seattle, anyway. But anyway, according to Samba TV, 48.6 million households tuned in to the Super Bowl. Okay. But that was a 13% decrease from the year prior. Now, as far as Horrible Bunny, yeah, and his halftime show, you know, Benito. Anyway, Samba reported that only 26.5 million households actually watched the show. Now that is almost 40% lower than Kendrick Lamar's show in 2025. And why they're saying, you know, they're obviously the Nielsen, they're claiming that the, you know, Sad Bunny, Bad Bunny, whatever his freaking name is, the Wascally Wabbit show was like the most watched in Super Bowl history, but yeah. I mean, somebody who's really good at math really quick, what's 48.6 minus 26.5? Yeah, that looks to be about, 22.1. So 22.1 million people moved and switched, or 22.1 million households switched. Yeah. So there you go. And that's on, you know, that, now keep in mind, that's national, like, broadcasting television TVs. That doesn't count streaming or any of this other stuff, from what I can tell. So, yeah. Anyway. I don't think Bad Bunny, Sad Bunny, he's more of a Benito, I think. But anyway, I don't think that it did what everybody thinks it did. So, yeah, whatever. Anyway, thanks. Unofficial producer said, my math is correct. All right. Sometimes I can do things smart. I mean, it's difficult, I know, but sometimes I can do it. Well, not only did Wascally Wabbit fail so hard. Yeah, he did fail. The other failure that happened at about the same time is a bunch more of Epstein docs dropped. And, well, there's a unsealed court doc in particular that was reviewed by the Miami Herald. And it doesn't line up with what the Democrats wish. What the Democrats wish would happen with Epstein. Here's what I'm talking about. See, the Democrats sit here and they keep like, oh my gosh, they keep going on and saying, oh, Trump is mentioned so often in the Epstein file. Trump and Epstein. Well, there's only one problem, folks. Trump went to the sheriff's department, the police, or whatever, and he said that he knew Epstein was disgusting. Now, the leftists are grabbing onto that, and they're saying, oh, I thought he said he didn't know Epstein. Well, okay, whatever. Anyway, what is key, though, is Trump said that Maxwell was Epstein's operative. She is, quote, evil, and to focus on her. Trump told them that he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present, and Trump, quote, got the hell out of there. And then Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein. Really? So, apparently, Trump did what he said. He did what he said. Oh my gosh, folks. I can't, yeah. I can't just imagine, all of this. Well, apparently, yeah. Once again, Trump proven right. Epstein proven wrong. Well, and the leftist lunatics out there. Yeah. Well, apparently, by the way, too, Ghislaine Maxwell testified. And once again, she told lawmakers that Trump and Clinton were innocent of any wrongdoing. Yeah, here we go again. More truth is coming out. Truth bombs left and right. Yeah. So, there you go. The House Oversight Committee deposition of Ghislaine Maxwell ended less than an hour after it began when the convicted accomplice of the late Jeffrey Epstein pleaded the Fifth Amendment. Her attorney apparently told lawmakers, however, that she could not implicate neither President Donald Trump nor former President Bill Clinton in any wrongdoing. The lawyer said, and he posted on X after the deposition. So, there we go. There you go. I mean, there it is. I don't know how much more clear we can make it to these leftist lunatics that are so damn stupid they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. I don't know how much clearer we can make it to them. Okay. Yeah. Now, Clinton being innocent, that's still kind of up to question. I'm sure that you got to remember Ghislaine Maxwell does lie a lot. Lied in her own trial. So, you can't necessarily take everything that she says, but the difference here is that President Trump is backed up by all of the evidence. Everything President Trump has talked about in terms of Epstein has been pretty much backed up by all the evidence. Clinton, not so much. So we're just going to have to see as time goes on as to what may come out. But I can tell you this much, that Epstein, with the leftists all sitting here talking about Epstein and how Epstein was like trafficking young girls to all these powerful people. No, Epstein wasn't doing that. He was doing it for himself. He wasn't doing it for other people. We know that. There's no evidence that supports that. So, anyway, well, let's move on to the moron files. We got a couple of them tonight. And you know what? I think it might change from the moron files to the dumbass files, but we're going to go ahead and do both of them here.
What are you doing, you moron?
That's right. And of course, you're
a dumbass. You're a dumbass. You're grade A, number one, bona fide first class. You're a dumbass. You're a dumbass. And you'll be one all your dumbass life.
All right, so who do we have up? I've got two of them tonight. Who do we have up for the first one? Well, there's a sheriff in Charlotte, North Carolina, by the name of Gary McFadden. Gary McFadden. Oh, he's a Democrat. And, well, if you have any question whatsoever, I'm just going to say, if you have any question whatsoever as to whether or not Democrats have any brains at all, this guy will definitely prove it to you that they don't. So here he's being questioned, apparently, in the, I think the state legislature or something like that. Well, let's just say it doesn't go very well. So let's take a listen.
Branch of government do you operate under?
Mecklenburg County.
What branch of government do you operate under, Sheriff?
Constitution of the United States.
Correct. That is what establishes the branches of government. I'm asking which branch you fall under.
Mecklenburg County. I'm a duly sworn Mecklenburg County Sheriff. We answer to the people of Mecklenburg County.
This was not where I was anticipating getting stuck. Are you aware of how many branches of government there are?
No.
Okay. For the sake of debate, I will move on and say there are 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, judicial. Of those 3, which do you believe you fall under?
I believe I fall under the last one.
Would you say it to me?
Judicial.
You are incorrect, sir. You fall under the executive.
And these people are in our government, folks. I can't even imagine. This guy's a county sheriff. He should know. Yeah, but I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry for him. I'm sorry for the people that he serves. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine being this damn dumb about our own government and everything that we do. Yeah. And by the way, that was the removal hearing over the alleged misconduct and abuse for that guy. Yeah, he's got literally 0 intelligence quotient. Yeah. Why? I mean, I hope he gets removed. I really do. Because I just that come on, dude, you're a sheriff. You're supposed to know the law. I can't even come up with any more excuses for these idiots. Speaking of coming up with excuses, Folks-a-Honis is back. Yes, she's back in the limelight. Well, let's just say that she didn't do quite so well going up against let's face it, reporters and journalists, they're really not that high on the IQ scale usually, but this one definitely was. So you're going to get a twofer. This is a twofer for the dumbass part.
The SAVE Act is expected to be brought this week to the floor for a vote. Do you support voter ID for elections?
Well, it depends on what you mean by voter ID. When you want to say that everyone has to produce a birth certificate, including women whose married names are not on their birth certificates, that creates a real problem for me.
Well, isn't that just one of the first steps in getting married is getting a new ID?
Actually, it's not getting a new birth certificate, because part of what the SAVE Act does is it says most driver's licenses around the country won't work as an ID. And that creates a terrible problem.
But you need an ID to do just about anything in America. Shouldn't you need one to vote in elections?
You don't need a birth certificate. I hope you know that.
Thank you.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, she is so dumb. Oh, my God. And how she got away with saying that she was a Native American for so long, I have no idea. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, the SAVE Act has specific carve-outs for women going and getting their name changed because of getting married. Oh my gosh, she obviously does not know. She doesn't have the intelligence level to even read. She probably can't even read the SAVE Act. Oh my God. Yeah. And by the way, just so everybody understands, she talks about how, you know, driver's license, most of the driver's licenses don't count. That's actually false. See, there's this thing, and she probably voted for it, I'm fairly certain, that went in under the Obama administration. The Obama administration put in this thing. It's known as Real ID. And let me just point out to you, the Real ID has a requirement for showing your date, your proven date of birth. Now, most people, in fact, I would say probably the vast 99.9% majority who have Real ID would prove their date of birth by their birth certificate, maybe? You think? Yeah. So once again, this is an example of the Democrats and their what do you call it? The soft bigotry of low expectations. Not only do they have that for people of color, but they also apparently have that for women now. So pretty much everybody who, you know, has been a Democrat for, well, decades, for the most part. And, you know, what's amazing to me is that these people, these Democrats, these leftist Democrats who support the party, especially those, white suburban, supposedly highly educated women in suburbia, they have no freaking, you know, the awfuls. Affluent, white, female, urban, liberal, the awfuls. They have, they have no idea. They literally don't. I don't even, I mean, come on. Anyway, well, that ends tonight's,
You're a dumbass.
That ends tonight's dumbass.
You're a dumbass
segment.
You're grade A, number one, bona fide first class. You're a dumbass. You're a dumbass, and you'll be one all your dumbass life.
Yeah, both of them. I can't even imagine. All right, well, CBS. Now, granted, CBS has gotten a little bit better since Barry Weiss went over there as an editor, but still, they put out pieces that essentially are questionable at best. So CBS apparently put out this piece. They attempted to attack the president and his deportation project. And, so many people, and by the way, too, the leftists, they immediately glommed onto this because, they're sitting there and they're like, oh, yeah, this is just an awesome thing. Well, here is what the piece basically stated. And the headline was pretty much along the same lines. Less than 14% of nearly 400,000 immigrants arrested by ICE had charges or convictions of violent criminal offenses. Now, this is the key. Violent criminal offenses, according to the Internal Department of Homeland Security document obtained by CBS News. Now, most people would look at that and they think, oh, okay, 14%. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that means that what? They're trying to get you to pick up or infer that, so of the other, roughly 86% had no criminal record? Because, again, all they did was pick out the violent criminal offenses. Okay, well, when you do 14% of 400,000, you're going to hit, roughly 60,000 violent felons that are no longer in our community. However, the piece continues. And this is where the leftists don't even take a look at any of this, because notice I said, watch the word violent. Further on in the piece, they outline all of the other non-violent offenders that included things like, drug trafficking, distribution of child pornography, burglary, fraud, DUI, embezzlement, solicitation of a minor, human smuggling. These are all categorized as nonviolent crimes. And that's 70% of the ones that have been picked up. 70% of the illegal aliens that have been arrested have pending criminal charges or prior convictions. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, 14 of them, 14% were the violent ones, but 70%, roughly, had all kinds of criminal convictions. Well, CBS didn't want to really let anybody know. They're trying to generate sympathy for those illegal aliens. And as my longtime Whiskey Warrior P1 3 Chevy points out, but even if they're here illegally, that itself is an offense. You know, I had a dumbass, yeah, I'm going to call him that, on Facebook. He's sitting here and he's like, well, you know, crossing the border illegally is a misdemeanor. And I replied back and said, it's still a crime. Whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony, it's still a crime. How hard is it for these people? How hard is it for these people to realize that, yeah, this stuff, I mean, really? Really? Seriously? Anyway. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway. Yeah. So there you go. I don't even know where to go with that. No segue here, folks. All right. Well, we will take a quick break and let me tell you about this wonderful thing. If you are, and you should be on Rumble. But if you are on Rumble, you've probably noticed that Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's this option called Rumble Premium, which is an easy way to upgrade your experience on Rumble. With Rumble Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content you came for, like this show. Plus, Premium members will unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off an annual subscription. All you have to do is go to rumble.com/premium. That / is the question mark key. Rumble.com/premium. Use the promo code STUDIO at checkout, and you'll get that $10 off your annual subscription. That's rumble.com/premium. Promo code STUDIO to get that $10 off your annual subscription. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. Go to rumble.com/premium. Use promo code STUDIO at checkout and get that $10 off that annual subscription. Rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. All right. Well, I think I made a comment at one time that Biden, when Biden was in office, that Biden was going to be the president, potentially had the ability to be the president who most of his executive orders would be overturned by the courts. Well, now I'm thinking that Trump, this second term, is going to be the president who's going to have most of the lower district courts overturned. He's going to go on record for not only being the one that was the most attacked in the courts, but also the one that has most of his court cases overturned. I think he's running something in like the 80 to 90th percentile for winning cases after they've been brought. Anyway, the latest comes from the idea that the immigration temporary protection status for about 89,000 aliens from Honduras, Nepal, and Nicaragua are going to essentially were attempted to be blocked. So a federal court, they went ahead and they said, no, you just got to block. You got to block that stuff. You know, you can't do that. Now I've told you, and I'm telling you, I'm seriously telling you, that if we were to actually follow the Constitution, the lower courts that were all created by Congress have no power. They have no authority to do this. Okay? They have none. But they keep coming back and keep trying, and these federal district court judges seem to think that they have more power than they really actually have. Well, even the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the most overturned court, now they won't be overturned on this, but the most overturned court, appeals court in the United States, they basically told the lower court, temporary protected status is only supposed to be temporary. And the rule is that the president or the Department of Homeland Security secretary has the power to remove it at any time. And so we, meaning the judiciary, we don't have any control here. We don't. Yeah. So Noam, of course, celebrated, and she went on to X, and she's like, a win for the rule of law and vindication of the U.S. Constitution under the previous administration. TPS was abused to allow violent terrorist criminals and national security threats into our nation. TPS was never designed to be permanent, yet previous administrations have used it as a de facto amnesty program for decades. So, yeah. She continued and says, given the improved situation in each of these countries, we are wisely concluding what was intended to be a temporary designation. Yep. There you go. Now, TPS is usually granted to citizens of nations who are experiencing war, recovering from some sort of a major natural disaster. And so it's only supposed to be so that they can come in and continue to work and live while their home country goes through whatever out of their control kind of scenario is taken care of. Well, here's the thing. Honduras and Nicaragua were granted TPS in 1999. That's 27 years. Nepal received immigration protection in 2015. That's 11 years. So these people are like here for, what are they here for? They're here for forever? I mean, come on, let's be real here. Yeah, the Biden administration, of course, cited numerous environmental, political, and social crises in Honduras when it extended TPS for the country in 2023. In its extension for TPS for Nepal that year, the Biden administration cited internal displacement, problems with reconstruction, fund distribution, and ongoing environmental disasters that had persisted since the earthquake in 2015. So, yeah, there you go. The Ninth Circuit Court explained in its order that it determines whether a grant or stay pending appeal if the party asking for the stay has shown a strong likelihood to succeed on the merits. The government, in this case, it said, is likely to succeed on the merits of its appeal. Yeah. You think? Anyway. Oh, all right. Well, another judge. This one from California. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know where these states get this idea. There's this thing called the Supremacy Clause. You know, maybe if they actually read the Constitution and its supporting documentation, meaning things like the Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist Papers, court decisions, Madison's notes on the Constitutional Convention, things like the Congressional Record, and I'm kind of referring to the 14th Amendment there. You know, all of these wonderful other documents outside of our founding documents and the Constitution itself, in order to completely and fully understand what the framers and writers and founders and everything else actually meant when they were talking about all of these things. Well, apparently, California put in a law. That California law was barring law enforcement officers from wearing masks. And a federal district court judge, this one actually is a good district court judge because Christina Snyder. She went ahead and found that the law itself discriminated against federal officers. And so she ruled in favor of the Trump administration, said, you know what? California, you guys can't enforce your No Secret Police Act, which was scheduled to go into effect earlier this year. That was going up against federal law enforcement officers. The federal government sued California, challenging the law as well as with another law known as the No Vigilantes Act that requires federal officers to wear identification. Now, Snyder did allow that second law, saying that one is not discriminatory. And yet she said the first law, which is against the masks, let's face it, that's what they're really after. They don't want the federal officers to have any ability of anonymity. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah. And of course, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, she praised the court's decision yesterday on X. She said these federal agents are harassed, doxxed, obstructed, and attacked on a regular basis for doing their jobs. We have no tolerance for it. We will continue fighting and winning in court for President Trump's law and order agenda, and we will always have the backs of our great federal law enforcement officers. Now, Gavin Newsom, the idiot, hair gel himself, well, he signed both bills into law last year. And apparently the No Secret Police Act is now gone away. Or, well, it's going to go away. I mean, it should. It really should. So, yeah. Anyway. All right. Whatever. So, that one's gone. And now we also have, well, let's see, the Fourth Circuit Court has overturned the lower court's blockade on Trump's elimination of the diversity, equity, and inclusion grants. That's right. The federal appellate court handed Trump major victory. This was apparently last Friday, by shutting down a lower court blockade of his efforts to eliminate the racist DEI programs in federal contracting. Now, here's the thing. People look at DEI and they think, oh, yeah, that's not racist. Well, it actually is. It's a form of racism against whites. That's what it is. And Asians, because for whatever reason, the left seems to want to just toss in Asians and whites together. Not that it really matters. Your skin color makes absolutely zero effect on whether or not you're efficient at your job, in any job or any other thing. Okay. But a unanimous decision by the three-judge panel for the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals vacated the preliminary injunction that was issued by a Maryland district judge, Adam Abelson, last year. Abelson was a Biden appointee and a Democrat donor who previously worked at a law firm who was stacked with Democrat partisans and lawyers involved in anti-Trump lawfare. So, writing for the three-judge panel, Chief Circuit Judge Albert Diaz ruled that plaintiffs specifically lacked standing to challenge the enforcement threat provision in one of Trump's contested orders. He and his colleagues furthermore determined that challenges haven't sufficiently alleged an injury in fact. They claim they fear retribution by defendants and that they'll be forced to restrict their speech and conduct in support of diversity, equity, and inclusion or face penalties. But these allegations overstate the enforcement threat provision's text. So in other words, they were running around like Chicken Little saying the sky is falling when the sky actually wasn't falling. Anyway, the Fourth Circuit Court ruled that while plaintiffs had standing to challenge the other provisions in question, they were unlikely to succeed on the merits. When addressing plaintiffs' challenges on the termination provision, which requires that all executive agencies terminate equity-related grants or contracts, Diaz went on to acknowledge that as president, Trump, quote, may determine his policy priorities and instruct his agents to make funding decisions based on them. In this instance, he noted, the president, quote, has decided that equity isn't a priority in his administration and so has directed his subordinates to terminate funding that supports equity-related projects to the maximum extent allowed by law. He has continued and said, whether or not that's sound policy is not our call. We can ask only whether the policy is unconstitutionally vague for funding recipients. So, and finally, in terms of the challenge against the certification provision, which requires agencies to certify that they do not operate unlawful DEI programs, Diaz made it clear that the plaintiffs are really asking us to read subtext into the provision's text. He said they are challenging how the administration and its agency actors interpret anti-discrimination law. He's like, neither is fertile ground for a facial attack against the certification provision. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, so now it's got to go back to the federal district court to finish. There you go. These people, I'm just telling you, all they do is they just constantly do this. Well, you know, there is some question. There's a lot of questions, but there is some question that a lot of people have been asking. And I think this is warranted, okay? But a lot of people have been asking, well, how is it possible for us to rein in and stop some of these federal judges, these federal district court judges, from doing, well, exactly what they're doing, like going rogue? Well, here's the thing, folks. First of all, you need to remember and understand that if SCOTUS could actually have the balls to say what they mean and mean what they say, back when Amy Coney Barrett had written that she thinks that the federal district court judges were possibly stepping outside of their authority, yeah, I told you that verbiage was soft. It was kind of acquiescent in a way, or non-committal at the very least. What they should have done, what SCOTUS should have done, is just flat out said, yeah, you guys are stepping outside your boundaries. That ain't your sandbox. Get back in it. Now, what a lot of people on the left seem to think is that just because these judges are unelected, they're appointed, that they have lifetime appointments, that they are untouchable. Now, in reality, they can be impeached. Congress can go and impeach them and get them totally out. Or a potentially easier way to fix this is for Congress to actually revamp the law. Now, there is a law that creates the process for disciplining federal judges. But unfortunately, as of right now, that particular law explicitly states that any complaint against a judge must be, quote, directly related to merits of a decision or a procedural ruling. That right there basically means that judges have immunity for anything that they put into a decision or an order. Now, this statute was specifically referenced in a pair of decisions declining to investigate disciplinary complaints against Judge Boasberg. You remember the guy that Trump is actually reportedly now ignoring Boasberg. Which honestly, I mean, again, I'm just going to point this out. Even the Supreme Court of the United States was ignored by President Andrew Jackson. Okay. See, this is one of the, and you could call it a weakness in this particular situation, but the Article 3 court system has no teeth in enforcement because the Constitution places all enforcement and implementation into Article 2, which is the executive branch. So you could sit here and say, yeah, that the Supreme Court of the United States could, in theory, say, yeah, you know, the president can't do something, whatever it is. And the president could look at the Supreme Court and go, yeah, well, guess what? Good luck enforcing that. So, this does create a bit of a conundrum, to be honest with you. But the reality of it is this, okay? Article 3, if you read it, very short. I've told you, historically speaking, it was the last article written or finished, completed, during the Constitutional Convention. It was it was basically kind of thrown together hastily because everybody had already been at the Constitutional Convention for 100 days, 100 plus days. And all of the delegates were like, hey, we need to get back to our farms, our families, you know, we need to go. And so they didn't really spend a whole hell of a lot of time on Article 3, which is part of the problem that we have. But that being said, within Article 3, it clearly states that Congress shall make any, and let me see if I can quickly find it. Shouldn't take me that long here. It says that the judicial power, this is under Section 1, Article 3, Section 1. Here, see, right here. Boop, boop. There it is. And it says the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court. And this is the part that's the most important to this conversation. And in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. Now that's the key right there. See, Congress could actually destroy the entire federal court system if they wanted to right now. Because they're the ones that set it up, which, by the way, that was one of the first things that the very first Constitution, after the Constitution was in the very first Congress put together under the Constitution, that was one of the very first things that they did was to create the court system, the inferior court system, as it's referred to. Congress could change this. Congress does have the power under Article 3 to make and destroy any court system that they wish. kind of like that idea of, you know, all the states have control of all the elections processes. But then there's that caveat where Congress can make whatever regulations it decides, with the exception of the places where the choosing of senators happens. Yeah. Anyway, you know, this would all be, if Congress would actually read the Constitution, they would be able to do their jobs a lot more effective. Okay. Now, all of that being in place, you need to understand that the problem is that if you go to try and impeach one of these judges, you need 2/3 of the Senate in order to actually remove them under the impeachment clause in the Constitution. To be able to change these rules outside of, whatever the House and the Senate have actually put in, I think it would be just a simple majority in both houses. I don't think you would need any kind of a supermajority in order to do it, although that is an interesting question, and maybe I need to dig a little bit to figure that out. But, again, Congress can change these laws at any time. They could hang these federal court judges up with all kinds of different intermediary disciplinary actions, should they so choose. Because as of right now, Congress, you can impeach them. That's it. And you have a little bit of a protection with it, especially for these people who are in a lifetime appointment, never democratically elected. And, in theory, as this piece in the Federalist who kind of talks about all of this is an opinion piece, in theory, a judge could look at the Constitution itself and decide that he or she does not like the plain meaning of an article or amendment and issued a ruling that would hold otherwise. Well, that's pretty much what these rogue judges are kind of doing. They're stepping outside their sandbox. So it's possible, and it should be one of the things that Congress does, outside of doing all of the social experiments and all of this welfare and all this other crap that Congress is doing outside of Article 1, Section 8. Maybe they should actually pay attention to what really is their job and fix these problems. Fix the federal statutes that govern the discipline of the judges that are going rogue like this, to protect the Constitution, federal law, Supreme Court operate outside of their authority. Yeah. This is egregious behavior that the federal bench is now taking advantage of. And, needs to go. All right. Well, that is it for me for this evening. Oh, I did have this. The Chicago mayor, in a small moment of clarity, actually confesses to the fact that there has been a 30% drop in homicides after Trump went in and started cracking down on stuff. People don't seem to understand. Part of the reason why these homicides and violent crimes and everything else are dropping is plainly because of the fact that Trump is doing what he is doing. Anyway. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor. If you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com. Get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you hit or search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to give me those thumbs up, thumbs downs, or if you're 3 Chevy, the thumb sideways across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night for Whiskey Wednesday. No pet of the week. Well, I have a reserve, but let's just admit that I don't have any other pet of the week. So get yours in if you want one. If you want it on there, get yours in. Send it in to fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. We'll see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.